place that it doesn't matter if it's the car industry, it doesn't matter if you're going to Shoppers Drug Mart, it doesn't matter if you're going to Sobeys. The reality is that all those shopping experiences will change for quite some time. And it's important that I think that we're eyes wide open to it, number one, that our heads are out of the sand, that it'll eventually just go back to the way that it was, because I don't think that it will. But the good news is we know that this is going to happen when things open back up. So one of the things that have been working on the last couple of days is helping prepare documentation for the dealers to be able to have protocols in place for both them, their customers, and their staff, and things like that. So we're already starting to prepare for what does it look like when we go back to work. And to Todd's point is that there is going to be a demand for services. There is going to be, in our opinion, pent up demand for vehicles once we get through this. And will there be some anxiety in some cases for people not wanting to go into public places to get them and pick them up? Likely. And if that's the case, then the good news is we have an opportunity now to find a way to answer that demand. The one thing that I think is going to be a very interesting experiment out of all this is that, for the last number of years, everywhere that I've gone for conferences and people that I've talked to, it's been all about how certain generations, and I've got two of them in my house that play in that generation, they're not going to drive anymore. They're going to share cars. 5 people are going to own that car, and all these types of different models that were being explored. Well, I'm hearing that a lot of people are going to reconsider that type of a model, only because now, even from a public transit perspective, you might not see the same type of trust, or you might see a higher level of anxiety in those modes of transportation. So you may see automotive, and you hate to benefit from anything as horrible as what we've all experienced and what the world's experienced, but you may see a benefit and an uptake from that. So, there is some silver lining, but I think now everyone's got a bit of extra quote unquote time on their hands if they're at home working versus in the physical environment. So now's the time to get those plans in place and not wait for them to say, okay, showrooms are now open, because they're not just going to do that. The government is not going to say, okay, everything's back to normal. It's not. They'll put certain restrictions in place to protect all of us, and we'll have to continue to adapt. So I think I think you're right, Todd. We have a lot of adaptation coming in the next 6 months, and I actually think that's probably the right length of runway.